connecting you, and you're here.
Yay!
Oh my
We did
goodness.
it!
We did it. Yes. High
Yes!
fives.
Oh my goodness. All that work.
Oh
Okay.
boy. Okay.
Yes.
This is great.
Awesome.
Now, you guys, I was all prepared for this, and I had my nice little spot, and I wanted to have my book to show you. And now what's happening is that, oh yes, I did bring the book. I have to move spots and get my computer, but here we are. We are doing it, Steve.
We're doing it. It took a little bit of work, but we're here.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Do you want to restart this or no? That we should just keep it going because it's never going to happen again.
Let's just roll with it right now. We don't want to have any more technical difficulties, hopefully.
Did you announce it to your to your followers on Instagram?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just did a post on Instagram story just to let everybody know, hey, we're going to go on Facebook Live. So hop on her page and then it should be good to go.
All right. Well, here we are. We might as well go for it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you for being here this lovely week on this lovely Saturday morning.
Thank you.
Let's get started. So I guess the first question would be tell us a little more about yourself before you started keto.
Okay, so before I started keto, I was already a nutritionist and studied nutrition, working for a practice, and I was a paleo blogger as well. So I actually started out with Weston Price, and the teachings of Dr. Weston Price were part of my nutrition studies. So that is the first diet that I used. Then from Weston Price, I went to paleo. And once I was doing paleo for a couple of years, I found a ketogenic diet. And they all kind of naturally merged in together for me. Because, I'm sorry, but for me, you have to understand that my point of view as a nutritionist, it's a little different than just your average layperson that comes to the ketogenic diet. Because
Right.
I have this whole background of knowledge of what is actually good for you, what is healing. So when I looked at certain people doing ketogenic diets and they just eat whatever, I know there is a huge community on Reddit, which is actually one of the first big keto communities. You're probably familiar with them, right,
Yeah.
Steve? So I used to follow that community on Reddit at the beginning, and I was just like, oh my goodness, these guys are eating horrible stuff. Like, it's like McDonald's keto, and like, it did not work for me. Like, as a nutritionist, as a health conscious person, there are many different reasons to do keto, but for me, if you're doing keto for not just weight loss, but to get better, to get your symptoms down, to get, your health back on track, definitely there is a better way, a right way to do it, and a not so good way to do it.
Right. And it's not even the short-term effects, it's the long-term effects that's going to have on your body. Because, when you're, a young person in your 20s or 30s, you're setting the foundation now for when you're going to be 70, 80, 90 years old, right?
That's right. And look at you, you're all young, and I'm here like 80 years old.
I know. I got started early.
Yeah. See, but look, I'm 80 years old, and you would never be able to tell because I'm eating keto.
Right. Exactly. It's not even a diet. For people that are like kind of asked you, like, is it a diet or is it a lifestyle? What would you tell them?
Well, for me, it's definitely a lifestyle. Sorry for the wobbles here, you guys. I left my tripod in the other room, and it's too late. It's definitely a lifestyle, and I gotta say that I was really strict keto for almost 2 years, where like I counted macros and like I was really perfectly in ketosis all the time and being not obsessive, but really on point with it. And then what I realized is that there was a period where like I had to move and a lot of stuff was going on. And so I wasn't able to be as strict as usual, but I kept, it comes a point where you kind of know what to eat. You know what your plate looks like. When you're going out of ketosis, you feel it. And so I started kind of going more between reincorporating some carbs and keto strictly. So I started fluctuating back and forth, and I realized that there were benefits to that as well, which my first 2 years of doing keto, if you told me like go out of ketosis, I would like, no, never, I would never do that. You know, I was like the biggest fan of like being in ketosis all the time. And, you know, now after keto has become really popular and after a few years of a deeper exploration of this lifestyle, this way of eating and these metabolic pathways that ketosis, you know, the adaptations, what it does on your body. So there's been a lot of more research done and, you know, more like research on actual people and more years of experience from a lot of different people on ketosis. So I see it being divided kind of into two schools of thoughts right now, where one is the school of thought of staying in deep ketosis all the time, and the other one is the school of thought of like fluctuating in and out of ketosis depending on your needs. And for me, I have recently kind of really got more into the second school of thoughts because hi Don, thank you for watching us. And sorry you guys, I need to disable my dinging of the phone here. Because for a woman, especially a woman, I'm almost 50, and a woman in my age, and there is a lot of my followers are kind of like in the same place where I am. I found the benefits of using ketosis like targeted and strategically are much wider than just going blindly into it and just, you know, going for all or nothing.
Right. And it's important to do your homework, to understand, you know, listening to your body is probably the most important thing to be able to do, especially when you're first starting out, because if this isn't something you've done the research on, say if you're about to take a test next week and you haven't studied for the test, you know, how do you think you're going to perform on the test? So it's being able to do your homework beforehand and, you know, read up and research, you know, and to kind of, you know, explore on your own what exactly the keto diet or lifestyle for some would be and the effects it'll have on you.
Right.
Definitely. Okay, great. So I guess what would be your kind of best, I guess your one piece of advice you would give someone who's first thinking about starting keto?
First starting keto, I would say do your research well. And, you know, one thing that is like, for every person is different. We all have their individual physiology, but we can also kind of group ourselves into, you know, certain kind of categories like male and female, and then active, non-active, people who are overweight and people who are not overweight. So my suggestion is like try to find a person who is like the most similar to you. So if you're a young bodybuilder male, find somebody who's like you, a young guy who's a bodybuilder who has done keto successfully and has found a good formula for him. And if you are, let's say, a middle-aged woman or, you know, a young woman, find somebody who is a young woman who's done keto successfully. If you want to do it for athletic competition or stamina, or, you know, you're a marathon runner, then find a marathon runner who has done keto. That is the first step, like to just try to find somebody who reflects where you are, who you are, so that is more targeted to your kind of goals with a ketogenic diet. The other thing that I would recommend is to just really think about the health base, like the basis of what you're trying to accomplish with your long-term health, like you said, Steve, and that we want to do keto for health and not just to drop a quick pound. Because honestly, to just abuse your body and drop a quick pound, it's not always necessary. It's not always the best thing for the big picture. So don't do McDonald's keto.
Right.
Do some research, find a better options. There is a lot of people. And the other thing is like, really do your research, because there are a lot of people out there, unfortunately, who have absolutely no background in nutrition or, sorry, I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to say it.
No.
You know, a lot of dietitians have not such great notions of nutrition that are not working so well, but they get into this and then they start embracing some parts of keto And I've seen a lot of really kind of appalling recommendations, like, using canola oil to do keto just because it's a fat.
Mm.
And like, when I first started keto, there are, traditionally a lot of the medical establishment uses keto for people with untreatable seizures. I can't speak English. Untreatable seizures.
Untreatable.
And
Mhm.
I've seen formulas prepared for those people, especially infants, that do contain canola oil and all kinds of disgusting processed ingredients. And the
Mhm.
goals for them is just to get them into ketosis, as deep ketosis as possible to prevent the seizures. But what are they feeding those bodies? They don't even think about it twice. So they will
Mm.
prescribe like keto supplements with canola oil, with hydrogenated fats, in order to get people into ketosis. And yes, you will get into ketosis, but then what's going to happen? To your body? Are those nutrients? What are those foods going to do? Not keep you healthy, that's for sure.
Right. And it's consuming the foods that are, clean, whole, unprocessed, just going back to the raw ingredients itself and then being able to cook with those accordingly, because I'm sure you've experienced this on keto. It can be difficult to, eat keto on the go, McDonald's, so to speak, but it's a lot more focused when you're, cooking the recipes and the ingredients yourself. You know exactly what's going into it, and you know exactly what you're going to get out of it as well.
Yeah, and even if you have to eat out, because we live crazy, busy lifestyles, and we got to do the best we can. But I feel like there are always options. And so within your limited options, you have to find the best you can. I'm on a live interview, you guys. Sorry, today is just one of those days,
It's
live
one of those
and
days.
real.
Definitely. Okay. So, I saw a report recently by the U.S. News and I think it was U.S. News and World Report that actually ranked the ketogenic diet as one of the worst diets to do. Actually, I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts on that.
You know, have you ever heard about lobbying and food
Mm,
industry and, everything that's connected with the FDA and medical doctors? We're talking big money right there.
yeah.
Um, you got to kind of think about where the interests are. I know that like I am definitely a rebel in what I do. I am a big time rebel and I'm against this establishment of like medical establishment, drug pharma companies. I take clients away from them, paying clients,
Mm,
because I want my patients to get off medication. I want them to be healthy. I want them to not have to go back to the doctor every month because they're sick. That's less money for them. So, you know,
right.
you really have to kind of look under behind the scenes a little bit and under the surface and think about what is the interest there. I mean, do I have interest in keeping you healthy and then you're not my patient anymore? Guess what? There are 9 billion people on this planet. I think I have plenty of people to keep healthy and never lack a
Right.
client. And hey, Gabriela, hi from Gabriela is here from London. We have an
Oh wow.
international audience. But yeah, so we really have to be mindful of all this talk. And also, you guys, really think about it for a second. Look at the state of the health in America today. For the last 50 years in America, we have followed, I haven't been here 50 years, but we have followed the guidelines of the medical establishment and the FDA, the food pyramid, all those crazy things that they've been telling us. And what's the result? You know, epidemics of obesity, metabolic syndrome, heart disease, you name it. Like, we are in one of the sickest and fattest countries in the world. And this is following all those guidelines that are supposed to keep you healthy. I mean, two and two, four, like, do the math in your head. This is not that hard to see. For me, it's extremely transparent. If that way of eating worked, you wouldn't be sick. And you wouldn't need to lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 200 pounds. Like, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. And it's not because people are gluttons or like lazy couch potatoes that stuff their faces all day long. It's not the case. We've just been given a lot of really bad information.
And for me, I think personally, I've just kind of seen it as, you know, I'm helping somebody else live a better lifestyle. And if I can prolong their life and improve their quality of life to allow them to live longer on this planet and make more memories with their friends and families and those they love, then, you know, that's all. I can go to sleep happy at night. I can go to sleep and just be like, I helped one person live a healthier, better lifestyle. And for all I know, that person is connected with a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa, whoever it might be, is, you know, touch somebody else who could just spread. And, you know, when it comes to things like this, it can be like wildfire. It just spreads all over the place. And, you know, spreading the awareness is just, you know, one of the greatest feelings ever.
That's right. I'm with you on that. And hopefully we will reach a tipping point eventually where people are going to become more aware and just be able to make better choices for themselves.
Yeah,
Wow, from
absolutely.
Malaysia. We have a watcher from Malaysia. Hi, Christine.
Oh, wow.
Yay.
Hello. That's far. Wow. Reaching everywhere. All over the globe.
Thank you for watching.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I love that take. That was great. Excellent. Okay. So we talk cookbook. Let's talk cookbook.
I did bring it from the other room.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Got a few questions on the cookbook. So I guess, could you describe what your experience was like writing a cookbook?
Oh boy, yes. It was fantastic and crazy because my life is so busy all the time. And, you know, I run a pretty much full-time practice. And then I'm supposed to blog occasionally. I try to blog. And everything else is going on. And then the cookbook. And I was like, I must have been insane the day I say yes. But having my own cookbook was like one of my big life dreams. And I wanted just one like this with a pretty picture and really shiny and glossy and all for me with all my recipes. So I couldn't pass it up. But yeah, for me, this cookbook is kind of like the manifesto. Any recipe for diabetics, says Mary. Yes, Mary, all of them, not just any. This is a cookbook that's perfect for diabetics. I wish the Diabetic Society would recommend it, but that's another story. So,
all right, that's another time.
it was like, it's always an adventure. This is my third cookbook, and like, hi Mary Lou, get to your question in a second. What city are you in? I am in California, Southern California, Ojai, where it just burned. Right there. But I have a long distance practice, by the way, you guys. My patients are all over the world. I have lots of Canadians and Italians. You know, I'm Italian.
Right.
So sorry, the rabbit hole there.
That's okay.
So I think that there is a process in writing cookbooks. For me, writing recipes is natural. I cook. I am Italian. I do cook. And so every day for me is writing a recipe. That part I love. The part that's harder is the other part, the kind of technical part of putting it all together. And I think I'm bleeding over into your next question that you had for me. I was like, what's the most challenging part of writing a cookbook? For me, it's like reviewing the cookbook and proofreading. I really don't like doing that. I would love putzing in the kitchen all day long and making a mess and creating amazing foods and, you know, eating and having your friends test the foods. But the reviewing and proofreading and checking like exact stuff, that's not my best.
I'm with you there with the recipes and like making sure there's no spelling errors. You know, the picture has to be absolutely perfect the way I want it. And you might go back the next day and be like, oh, I just misspelled that word. Or it's like, oh, I don't like that angle anymore. Can you reshoot that? It's like, oy.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. That's great. So I guess what would be your favorite recipe? Since you said you made 3 cookbooks, what has been your favorite recipe, I guess, from this last one?
The last one, I actually marked it and lost my mark. So let me go back here. But
Okay.
And there it is. So this is one of my very favorite. It's, if you can see it, it's
Ooh, salmon, it looks like.
salmon with
Oh.
a cashew crust and a little ponzu touch of sauce on it for
Mm.
flavor. But I eat a lot of salmon because like I try to eat sustainable fish and it's really hard. So you're kind of just going around to like two or three choices. There is not a lot of choices, but I try to eat fish a few times a week. And I love salmon and I end up eating it a lot, but it kind of gets boring if you don't
Mm.
vary it up. So this recipe I like because it's kind of really easy and very flavorful. And it just gives it that, I don't know, it brings the salmon to the next level and
Mm.
makes it just crunchy and juicy and really like delicate and rich flavors. So it's always fun. And it's great when you have guests because they have never eaten anything like that and you can impress people really easily.
There you go. Oh gosh, I'm getting hungry. It's too
I
early to
know,
be getting
right?
hungry. It's
Is,
breakfast.
is it lunchtime yet?
I know. Can we have salmon? Salmon for lunch? Then I'm good. Awesome. Okay. So I guess another question might be, since you just finished the cookbook, what should kind of few short-term and long-term goals for 2018?
Well, it's kind of funny because I say to myself, no more cookbooks, never again. And then I
Eh,
just got this other idea that I think is just too phenomenal to pass up. So I'm starting to work on an next little project for a cookbook. It's going to be a little more like lifestyle and
mm,
cookbook, but not just recipe. This one is like classic, old school, just kind of recipes. And I really wanted the Keto Paleo Kitchen to be simple because there is a lot of keto cookbooks out there right now. There are that are really like super comprehensive and amazing, and they're like keto bibles. They're like this thick and you have all these
oh wow.
different plans, and I just sometimes don't have time for that. And so I really wanted things to be easy for
Mm,
people who use my cookbook. Just make the recipes and eat them. And you will be in
right.
ketosis and you will not have to think about it so much. And, you will be healthy as well because all these are all very healing, nourishing foods. But for my next project, I want to include more of a lifestyle element so that, because we all lead these crazy busy lives right now. So let's just
Right.
anticipate that it's going to be targeted for people like me and probably you who are super busy all the time and just running, like trying to fit 50 million things in their days.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of meal prepping things. It's like every weekend, it's like I'm gonna do the entire week in just one day, all day long, and then just not think about it.
Yeah, or how to bypass that.
Yeah.
There are little ways. So like a lot of like little tricks and tips and things. And the longer term, I think I really want to make my first retreat happen this year. I have made a promise with one of my best friends that we're going to make this happen. She already had her first retreat, and now I would like to do one with her. She does yoga and movement, and I want to do the nutrition part. So I would like to do the first Healing Foods Method, which is my program, as a retreat, maybe a week. Sometimes this year it's got to happen. So,
Okay, that sounds well. It's on the books. You've written it down. It's like, all right, this is
yep,
gonna happen. It's like
I
it's gotta
dropped
happen
it
now.
in there, right?
Okay, excellent. All right, so I guess another question would be, where did the name Nourished Caveman come from? I'm curious.
Oh, that's a funny story because it actually is one of those things that come to you in the middle of the night when you're like, you wake up at 4 a.m. and have to maybe you go to the bathroom and then these ideas pop in your head. But
Mm,
coming from Weston Price, I don't know if are familiar with Weston Price, but it's all about nourishing traditions and
mm,
nourishing foods. And then I started paleo, which is like caveman everything. So I really like saw a lot of people couldn't combine the two things, and there was a lot of like headbutting and discussions and arguments between the Weston Price Foundation and the paleo people. And I was like, I am going to create a blog that bridges those two universes and brings them together and shows everybody that not only is possible, but it's just perfectly possible and it's great. So that was like Western Price plus Paleo. That's how my blog started.
Okay, that's very interesting. That makes sense now that you've explained it, because I was thinking something like, is this like a, something like a Flintstones reference or something, maybe from like way back when, like the cartoon, but now that makes perfect sense. Cool. All right. So I guess being that you said you have clients all over the world, I guess, is there one specific striking testimonial that someone shared with you once that you'll never forget for the rest of your life that you'd like to share?
I was thinking about that before we started the interview, and I didn't have time to go look at testimonials. I do write them down, and some of them are on my blog. But I do get a lot of amazing testimonials from my patients. And every time I get one like that's really amazing, I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I can't believe those things. Like, I'm so grateful that I can be the facilitator for such amazing opportunities for healing. I think the one that's popping in my head right now is one of my patients last year. She was in her early 60s and severely overweight, like about 230 pounds when we started. And we worked together. My program is 14 weeks. So we worked together during the program, then continue working together. And then about 6 months later, she redid the program on her own with my assistance. And I remember, actually, I did an advanced course program for alumni. And one day she gets on the phone and she's like, we've been working pretty closely together because we started working on like her physical part and then really took it further into like the whole being. And that's a lot of the work I do involves starting with your body and of course keto, but also I like to go deeper and looking at the true root causes, which sometimes are emotional, emotional causes of why we are not able to make any progress. And she had been overweight and very, very ill for a long time. She had lost about 60 pounds during the program and started like being able to be active again and work a little bit. And then she started processing some early childhood trauma that she carried with her and then about the death of her mother. But the thing that she told me one day, she was like, I am happy again. I never thought I could be happy again in my life. It's been like more than 20 years since I was happy. And now I woke up one day feeling good and happy. And I just never thought that was possible. And I was bawling on the call. I'm like, oh, this. It was so amazing and so moving. And like she got the whole group crying at that time. But it was really amazing. And she shared some really intimate personal things and how starting with ketogenic, as a platform, as a foundation, and with the good foods and getting your body where like it's really able to start healing. For me, that when I see people, I get a lot of people who are really desperate. And I don't know if I magnetically attract them or, but a lot of people come to me that have been through a lot and, missing organs, missing thyroid, missing gallbladder. And when they come to me, they just like kind of been sent home by the doctors. The doctors cannot figure out what's wrong with them. And then we start that slow process of reclaiming your health. And miracles happen. It's beautiful. I'm super grateful to be able to be part of this and grateful for my patients to letting me help them through this.
That's amazing. That's an incredible story. It's just being able to just help, like I said, one person. Like if you could make an impact on one person's life, it's like like I said, I can go to bed. This is just like I've made it. Like this is why I was put on this earth, to just help other people and just spread the joy and the happiness and let them take their life back from them. Like you said, in 20 years, she'd never been happy. And it's like 20 years later, I'm happy. Like I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, I know. I am just blessed every day. When I have really hard weeks like last week where like all kinds of stuff hit the fan, But I have to go back to that gratitude feeling of like, I'm grateful for what I can do for myself and for others. And I'm
That's
definitely
awesome.
grateful for just ketogenic diet to be there as that base of healing. And you
Right.
had a really great question for me. I don't know if you were gonna ask it, but otherwise I'll ask it to myself
Let me look through it. Give me a hint. I've got it
about
here though.
why is keto so popular in America or not these
Yeah.
days.
I guess why do you think keto has just made such a resurgence lately? Like in 2017, it blew up.
Because people are metabolically damaged by the last 50 years of low fat, high carb diets. And the only way that you can repair metabolism is through the ketogenic diet. Sorry, take a sip.
That's
But
why I'm dealing with someone as well.
yes,
Okay.
when your
All right.
metabolism has been destroyed by high carb for a long time and high sugar for the long time, longest time, the only way to really rebuild your metabolism and reset your insulin resistance is going keto. So that is why, look, we have a whole country full of metabolically damaged people.
Right. And it's kind of hitting the reset button, like you said, on your body.
Mhm.
We've been on this traditional Western civilization diet for years and years and years and years and years, ever since the advent of I guess fast food, if I'm safe to say that, but like getting it the quick fix. But then now we're kind of going back to our roots of like this isn't really keto isn't necessarily something that's new. It's been around since like you said, 1920s, 1930s, helping patients with epilepsy and diabetics. So it's, like you said, really hitting that reset button and, changing things metabolically.
Right. That's right.
Definitely. Okay, great. I had a really good question after your story. Okay.
Hi,
I guess,
Jackie. Jackie's watching us from Bahrain.
oh,
Wow.
wow. Hello, Jackie. I don't even know where Brain is.
Bahrain is in close to Saudi Arabia, in the
Oh,
Middle East.
gosh.
Yes.
That's fun. I need to travel. That's on the list. Like this 2018, like travel somewhere that's just not out of Southern California, somewhere. Okay. The question was, I guess, did you ever imagine that you'd be doing this if I asked you this question 30, 40 years ago?
30, 40 years ago? No.
No?
No, actually, I was kind of a late bloomer as far as like finding my path, but my true path. Um, but at least I did. Some people never do, so I consider myself really lucky. But no, I have done a lot of different things in my life so far, and I only found nutrition relatively short time ago, like about 7, 8 years ago. So, yeah, I had no idea. I used to think I wanted to be a photographer, but I always knew I was a photographer for 15 years, and I always knew that I'm not a photographer. I felt like an
Mhm.
imposter. I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was a food photographer. So you can imagine, I mean, I'm always in the world of food. And then I was like also helping like as a kind of not really sous chef, but unofficial sous chef for catering.
Right.
My friend was doing catering, and I'm always around food, but I hadn't really honed in on what I really needed to do. And now, once I found nutrition, it just kind of exploded, and I was like, this is it. This is my calling. This is what I'm doing here. Like you say, like even if we change one person's life and make it better, then we made it all worth it.
Right. And it's a lot better to do it, better late than never. And
That's right.
especially to do it now. Yeah. I don't even know. Words can't describe just being able to find the passion. It's like, this is what I want to do. This is what I was meant to do. And, I guess going through your food photography, you just kind of, you're like, I'm here, but I'm just not quite where I want to be. Like I'm close, but I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Another one. Let's see. I guess where did you get your cookbook recipe inspiration from? That's a good question.
Well, most of it is from Europe, from Italy. And, it's no mystery that I grew up in a restaurant for the first 5 years of my life. And that seems really early, but at the same time, it kind of really primed me. And also, I love food and I love Italian food, of course. I'm Italian. I am so lucky to have grown up with an amazing diversity of recipes, ingredients, regional foods, and like whole real foods. Like, we cook everything from scratch. At least we did when I was in Italy. And that is my main inspiration. And then in general, kind of like world cuisines, I really love traveling the world just to eat. That's my little dirty secret. I will go to a country just to go eat the food. And when,
Right.
when I go for any other reason, I try to eat like in both good restaurants and I eat on the streets. I want to try as much as possible, like all kinds of different foods. So I try to recreate some of those flavors. I have recipes from India, and I was in India for more than 3 months. I have recipes from Europe, from the Middle East, a couple like from Israel, and I was in Israel. Jackie says our partner is on keto. Please say hi to, I hope I don't butcher his name,
Keto
Jiro,
Prasar?
Jiro
Jiro?
Prasar. Hi, Jiro. I hope we don't butcher
Hi,
your
Jiro.
name.
We tried.
Yes. So yeah, that's where I got the inspiration.
That's great. You've drawn on all your different, your experiences in your life and where you've been, growing up in Italy, traveling around the world, and you've kind of, compiled it all into one little succinct book.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's great. I'm curious, growing up in Italy, would you say it would be possible to do keto, I guess, or a low, kind of a modified keto diet in a different country?
Absolutely. I think that maybe, there is even in India, I saw there is a blog, India, Keto India. And I thought India must be the hardest place in the world to do keto because it's mostly grains and vegetarian and not so many good fats, but they're doing it back there. Like they're actually doing keto in India. So
Hmm.
I think it's possible in every country, and you just really have to expand your mind and expand
Right.
your horizon. Even doing keto as a vegetarian is possible, although I don't unfortunately because of health reasons, I don't recommend being vegetarian. I know this is a whole big giant rabbit hole. It's like
Right.
a dinosaur hole, but we're not gonna
Yeah.
go down there.
Okay. Great. Um, awesome stuff. Okay, I got a few more questions. I think I do.
I
What
think
would be
time for
some
lunch
food?
is coming, Steve.
I
Hurry
know
up because
it's
we're
getting
getting
there.
hungry over here.
I know. I guess. Hold on, let me think. I think I have all of them. Okay. What are just a few foods you would suggest for somebody to avoid when they first start on keto?
All hydrogenated fats, all rancid fats. Start like avoid and promote is like because keto is based on fat, then use good high quality fats. So conventional, like all the oils that are vegetable and seed oils, I would not use them at all, and I would just use like good coconut oil and organic extra virgin olive oil. You can use animal fats like tallow, or you can use lard. Please use organic, especially for the animals, and please, because I do recommend eating meat, but I don't just recommend to eat any meat. I really do not support industrially raised animals. So no factory farms. That meat is toxic. Even you don't have to eat a lot of meat, even on keto. But if you do, please use quality meat, and it's good for you. It's good for the animal. It's good for the planet. At least it's better. So we drive the market with our choices. There would be no factory farms if people didn't choose to eat that meat. And yes, I believe that we could make better choices and make this more sustainable, even eating meat on this planet. That is my belief. And man, that's a rabbit hole, and I'm gonna have
Right.
some
Avoiding another hole. Like
people
there's
disagree
that
with
one,
that
that's actually
one.
not one.
But yeah, so good fats. Start with that.
Okay, good stuff to know. All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Are there any closing thoughts that you'd just like to share with everybody real quick?
Um, Let me think. I just encourage people to try ketogenic diets, but again, really do your research, think about it for a minute, do your best. And we all start in different levels and with different backgrounds. And I know it takes some time to transition. So as you, Jackie say, they love fats. Yep, I do too.
Me too.
um, Try to be kind to yourself. And being keto is also part of being kind to yourself, but don't be hard on yourself if you cannot be perfect at first. And if you cannot do everything right, there are good ways, easy ways to transition. I use a lot of protein. Sometimes when I start people on keto, I start them with higher protein than normal, just because it helps transition from high carb. Also, I use keto treats in moderation. I am not a sweet person at all. I know you like your desserts, Steve, and people do love that.
Yeah.
It's, we all love sweets, but I feel like there needs to be a good balance. And, the
Right.
balance of a healthy staple of your diet is in savory, real food. So if you do need to eat the treats, I use them more as a transition from high carb to keto, and then just like use them for what they are, just a treat. So that's my closing thoughts. And good luck, everybody, with keto. I hope you like my cookbook, and I hope it helps you. That is why I created it, is to help you and to help people enjoy their ketogenic diets, eat better, have more fun with it, and enjoy life.
And with that, I think that's a wrap. You hit all the points. Thank you so much
Well,
again for doing this. I'm glad we got it to work. I'm glad we did
thank
it.
you. And I need to close with this because everybody, I saw the big keto people, they do like all their their faces, and I never got to do it on a live video. And because we started out kind of funny, I just had to do that one time.
Oh, there you go. That works. All right. Well,
Excellent.
absolutely. Everybody follow Vivica on Instagram at the Nourished Caveman, correct? That's the handle, Nourished Caveman.
And where are
And
you
then
at, Steve, on Instagram?
I'm just at keto_Steve. And then I'm
Keto
also on
Steve.
Facebook as well. Yeah.
Excellent. So the Nourished Caveman and Keto Steve, thank you so much for this great interview. And we did it. Yay.
We did it. Great. Well, absolutely. Best of luck in 2017. Let's keep in touch. And if there's any way I can help you or vice versa, let's do it.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for
Sounds great.
watching.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.